So picking up where we left off with this echo statement, you'll notice that I've used single quotes instead of double quotes. That's because single quotes define this as a string, and they're much faster. You should always use single quotes when you're just dealing with a string and not a variable. But if I want to add in a variable, so I'm going to go $var equals some text. Make sure you put a semicolon at the end. Now, make this double quotes, and I can now put in the name of my variable. So $var. Now, if we were to run this, you notice it says some text, because it's now echoing out the variable. Another thing you can do inside of here, even with single quotes, is use HTML tags. So now the text will be bold. Another thing is a process called concatenation, which is the process of combining two strings together. So in PHP, you do this with a full stop. And now, more text. So I go back. And now it's put more text on the end. And you would, of course, want to put a space here. And I can use this to combine two variables. So the next thing is the print statement. Now this is treated more like a function than echo. So echo will of course echo is of course much faster because it does less. It's always that way in coding. Every time you do less, it's faster. So since these single quotes don't allow you to put variables in, you're doing less, so the machine has to do less, and it runs faster. With print, it's doing much more. So on the surface of it, it does pretty much the same thing. It just echoes out text. But later on, you'll find that this does other things like echoing out arrays and stuff. I don't really want to get too advanced right now, but know that this exists. And know that you also don't have to put a semicolon here, because it's a function. I think. Let me just check that. No, okay, you do have to put a semicolon. But earlier that was running just fine because it was at the end of a statement, because without the semicolon it was trying to run this print statement as if it was on the same line. You'll see with the semicolon you can put a break halfway through your text, and it's weird. Oh, okay, you can't put a break in the middle of a command, but I can put a break here. And this will run just fine. Another thing, the reason you always add single quotes in your HTML, it doesn't actually, your HTML will run just fine, but if you add an ID or a class in here, if I want to give this an ID of red, say I was making it red or something, CSS. This runs just fine. But let's just get rid of everything else. If this was single quotes, and this was not a variable, so you'll see this doesn't run because it sees this as the string, and then this is just another,
well, this is just some text in the middle, which is a syntax error, and then this is another string, no concatenation. It just doesn't make sense. So you want to always use single quotes in here. Now, of course, it will. If you were using single quotes on the outside, then using double quotes on the inside will, of course, fix this. But usually, when you're echoing out HTML, you're going to be using a variable, so you will almost always want to put the single quotes in your HTML, and then double quotes, and then double quotes on the outside. So that's all for now.